It's the end of the session. This is our roadmap to success. This is Penny, this is Berkley. Excuse them for putting their backs to the camera. They're more interested in getting these treats. Okay, so the two primary issues that we had here was a lot of barking from both dogs and resource guarding here from Berkley. So in the other video we talked about resource guarding. We just talked about incorporating some other rules and some methods that we can use for feeding out of the bowl. One of the things I recommended, because the bowl seems to be a particular item that Berkley's guarding, is just getting a different bowl. A lot of times if I have dogs that snarf their food down and we have the special maize bowl, which is what we have here, I like to just put a lot of warm water in with the dry kibble. That slows down the eating process. And they have to spend about 2 or 3 minutes drinking all the water before they get to the food, before they can eat it. So that will help them slow down the process overall. And again, get the book Mine if your dog is a resource guarder. Okay, what we basically did to address the barking was incorporating rules and structure, so the dogs start to see the humans as authority figures. One of the things we did was we claimed answering the door. Is that the video? No, we didn't shoot a video of that. But if you go to doggonproblems.com, there's a search field on the dog training tips page, and I know I'll get you two next. And you can search for door exercise, and I have a bunch of videos that show people how to do that. But basically, for the rules we talked about, enforcing them consistently. It's important that we enforce them within a 3-second window, and that we get up and walk over and address the dog. If we're yelling at the dog from a seated position to the dog, we really don't mean it. So make sure that we're either consistently rewarding or correcting the dog within 3 seconds. That's why I like the Guardians to practice my method, petting with a purpose, if I can speak properly, petting with a purpose methodology, which is asking the dog to sit or lay down or come to us or do something to earn their attention before we pet them. That makes the attention more valuable, and it also reinforces that we're the leadership and that they have to ask us rather than tell us for permission. So no more petting the dog if it nudges us, scratches at us, or jumps up on our lap. Instead, we're going to tell it to sit, come, or lay down. And then when we pet it, we're just going to say the word sit, crash, or come, or whatever the word is. Not good sit, not good dog, just the command word. Sit, sit. That's something else that I like to do, is practice kind of a first come reward scenario. Right now these dogs are competing for their guardian's attention, the best spot, the best food, the best treat, the best pet. What I do is ask the dogs, come here buddy, come here. Well, what I can't do it because she's sitting and she's not. Come over here. Let's try it this way. That's not what I want to do. Now let's try it this way. Sit. She sat first, so I give her the treat. So pull out one treat and ask the dogs to come. Whoever comes and sits first gets the treat. You ask them to sit. Whoever sits first gets the treat. Whoever sits second gets nothing. Once dogs start coming and giving you the same effort, then I can give them both a treat. But now I'm going to create competition for obedience. I'm going to be the first dog to come and sit for her because she called it. That's a very good sit. I'm going to word that. Sit. Oops. Sit. Now, something I showed in the kitchen, what I like to do is use a hand motion like this, because you can see, even though she can't see what's in my hand, this cupped hand looks like I have a treat. So if I want to get the dog to come to me, I say come once. The dog doesn't come, then I start lowering it. The lower you go, the more accessible it is for the dog. So if I want an SIT, I go over her head, and then I lower, come here. Well, you're not. You're staying in a seated position. You're a little tubby. There we go. So I go over her head, starting from her nose, go over her head in an arc, sit. So in this case, I'll show you from the profile, what I do is I go in a crescent. I don't go just vertically, and I don't go this way, and I don't go like sell it. Make sure you actually have a treat is most better. And then basically I go over their head. As soon as they sit, I lower my hand, let them lick it off my hand and say sit, or what come, or whatever the command is, and then I simultaneously tickle them under their chin. I want to facilitate that nose-up orientation because a proud dog has its nose up or parallel to the ground. So avoid petting them on top of the head, instead try to pet them underneath the head like this. Let me see. I'd like to also have the Guardians practice using passive training. So she just came so I can say here, or come. The dog sits on its own, we pet it and say sit. When it lays down, we pet it and say down. When it any action the dog does on a regular basis, we can reward them. And after a while, the dog will start to engage in those behaviors, and now the dog knows to sit, just like that. Things that it can do to make us happy. Let's see, we want the Guardians to get in the habit of walking through the dogs. The dogs need to learn they defer around the human as opposed to having the human walk around the dog. Teaching the dog to wait at the stairs. Wait, and then walk down the stairs, and then give the dog a come command. Whoever goes through a doorway, down the hallway, out the door, down the stairs first or up the stairs is in charge. So if we get the dog used to us being in front, that helps them develop a little bit more respect for us as authority figures. We're also going to ask the dog to sit before we let them go in or out of the door. If they don't sit right away, then we walk away. We wait 1 minute, come back, tell the dog to sit. If it doesn't sit, now I walk away for 2 minutes. Next time for 4 minutes. Next time for 8 minutes. As soon as the dog's butt hits the ground, I open the door and let it out. If one dog sits and the other one doesn't, I will let this dog out and not let Penny out. Let me see, what else? We're going to practice leashing the dogs up. Now, if you go to the video, I think it's going to be like 2 or 3 videos on my post on my website below this one. There's one where I worked with a couple of clients who are hearing impaired. There'll be a translator translating, and I showed a video of demonstrating how to leash your dog up and make sure it stays calm. One little trick that I didn't mention here, that I mentioned in this video now, is practice leashing your dog up at times when you're not planning on going for a walk. So the first step, and I don't think I even went through this, I think we got on a tangent. So my first step is just walking towards the leashes. As soon as the dog walks in front of me, it's in a leadership position. So as soon as it passes my legs, I turn and I go sit down. I don't say no, I don't chastise the dog, I don't correct it. The consequence is it stops. It'll take several times before you can walk all the way to where the leashes are and the dog stays behind you. The next step is to reach for the leash. If reaching for the leash, the dog starts bouncing or barking or whining or doing circles, don't even touch it. Go sit down and wait for the dog to settle down. And then repeat the process. I had a guy in Los Angeles, took 27 times. But by the time we got to the point where we picked up the leash and attached the dog and went to the door, that dog was as calm, as cool as a cucumber. So practice that. One of the recommendations I have is to practice that 4 times for every 1 time you go out for a walk. So now it's not, we desensitize it, the dog's not so excited for it. Don't let the dog climb on top of you. Sit. Because that's a sign, that just signifies the dog doesn't have a proper respect for you. There's nothing wrong with the dog being on my lap if I invite the dog up. Right now, these dogs are inviting themselves up. So that's why we make the furniture off limits for at least 30 days, or as long as the problems are going on. One other thing the dogs can do, the guardians can do, is if Berkley is barking at a guest, a lot of times if the guest sneezes, Berkley barks. The guest stands up, Berkley barks. The guest moves, Berkley barks. Berkley's saying, I didn't give you permission to do any of those things. And most of the time the dogs will bark and move away in that capacity, especially when they're a little insecure. And she's a puppy, so she's not super confident. She's certainly not aggressive about it. Sometimes I'll just put the dog on a leash, step on the leash a couple feet away from the dog's, where it's attached to the dog's collar. And the dog doesn't feel quite as brave in barking because I can't move away from the human. Now if I shove the dog away, then that's not teaching the dog. So what I'm doing here, sit. So if you climb on top of the human, nothing happens. The human can redirect and then put the dog in a sit. And this is why petting with a purpose is so helpful, because eventually the dogs start engaging in those desired actions and behaviors rather than jumping up. Jumping up is, I'm going to take it. I want you to, you better give it to me. These are all assertive perceptions the dog has that comes to the dog thinking it's in a leadership position. Down, down. Remember, whenever we're giving a treat, the second the treat touches the dog's lip is when it should hear the command word, and just the command word, not a whole bunch of extra words. Sit. Am I forgetting anything? I think I covered most of the highlights. I probably have forgotten some stuff, but the guardians know, like all my clients, they can always call or text me if I have questions. If they have questions, hopefully I'll have answers. All right, that's the roadmap to success for Berkley and Penny. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.